out of state and did not receive this call. At 5 p.m., one of Murray's older sisters contacted her father to tell him of the situation. Fred then contacted the Haverhill Police Department and was told that if Maury was not reported safe by the following morning, the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department would start a search. At 5:17 p.m., Maury was first referred to as missing by the Haverhill Police. On February 11th, Fred arrived before dawn in Haverhill. At 8 o'clock a.m., New Hampshire Fish and Game, the Murrays and others began to search. A tracking dog tracked the scent from one of Murray's gloves 100 yards east from where the vehicle had been discovered but lost the scent. This suggested to police she'd left the area in another car. At 5 p.m., Murray's boyfriend and his parents arrived in Haverhill. Murray's boyfriend was interrogated in private and then was joined by his parents for questioning. At 7 p.m., the police said they believed Maury came to the area either to run away or attempt on a living. Her family believed this was unlikely. Murray's boyfriend had turned off his cell phone during his flight to Haverhill. At some point, he received a voicemail that he believed was the sound of Maury sobbing. The call was traced to a calling card issued to the American Red Cross. On February 12th, Murray's father and boyfriend held an evening press conference in Bethlehem, New Hampshire, and the next day the first press coverage was published. At 3:05 p.m., the police reported Maury might be headed to the Concomaugust Highway area, and she was listed as endangered and possibly suicidal. The police report also stated Maury was intoxicated at the crash site. Although the bus driver had said she did not appear impaired, the Haverhill police chief said that, "Our concern is that she's upset or suicidal." A week after Murray's disappearance, her father and boyfriend were interviewed by CNN's American Morning. Murray's family expanded their search into Vermont, dismayed that authorities there had not been informed of her disappearance. Although missing person cases are normally handled by local and state police, the FBI joined the investigation 10 days after she disappeared. The FBI interviewed family from Massachusetts, and the Haverhill police chief announced that the search was now nationwide. 10 days after her disappearance, New Hampshire Fish and Game conducted a second ground and air search, using a helicopter with a thermal imaging camera, tracking dogs and cadaver dogs. Murray's older sister discovered a ripped white pair of women's underwear lying in the snow on a secluded trail near French Pond Road on February 26, but DNA tests found that the underwear did not belong to Maury. At the end of February, the police returned the items found in Murray's car to her family. On March 2nd, the family checked out of their motel, exhausted from the search. Fred returned nearly every weekend to continue searching. In April, Haverhill police informed him of complaints of trespassing on private property. The March 2004 disappearance of Brianna Maitland in Montgomery, Vermont, 66 miles away from Murray's last sighting in Woodsville, drew comparisons from media and law enforcement due to the similarities in disappearances. However, state police have stated there are no links between the two cases. In April and again in June, New Hampshire and Vermont police dismissed any connection between Murray's case and Maitland's. In a press release, they stated they believed that Maura was headed for an unknown destination and may have accepted a ride in order to continue to that location, adding that they had discovered no evidence that a crime had been committed. They dismissed the possibility of a serial unaliver being involved. On July 1st, police retrieved the items found in Murray's vehicle from her family for forensic analysis. On July 13th, a 1-mile radius search was performed by nearly 100 searchers, including state troopers, rescue personnel and volunteers. It was the fourth search around the crash site and the first search performed without snow on the ground. Authorities were most interested in locating the black backpack Maury had in her possession, but not found in her car. Police stated the search discovered nothing conclusive. In late 2004, a man allegedly gave Murray's father a rusty, stained knife that belonged to the man's brother, who had a criminal past and lived less than a mile from where her car was discovered. His brother and his girlfriend were said to have acted strangely after the disappearance, and the man's brother claimed he believed the knife had been used to unalive Maury. Several days after the knife was given to Murray's father, the man's brother allegedly scrapped his Volvo. Family members of the man who turned in the knife claimed he had made up the story in order to obtain reward money in the investigation, and that he had a history of substance use. In 2005, Fred Maury petitioned New Hampshire Governor Craig Benson for help in the search, and appeared on the Montel Williams show in November 2004 to publicize the case. On February 9, 2005, the first anniversary of Murray's disappearance, a service was held where the car was found, and Fred met briefly with New Hampshire Governor John Lynch. In late 2005, Fred filed suit against several law enforcement agencies, with the aim of seeing files on the case. On November 1, 2005, a user named Tom Davies logged into a message board called Not Without Peril, which was dedicated to discussion of Murray's disappearance, and claimed to have seen a black backpack similar to Murray's behind a restroom at Pemigewasset Overlook, around 30 miles east of Woodsville on Route 112. Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Strelzin stated that law enforcement was aware of the backpack, but did not disclose whether it had been taken for forensic testing. The New Hampshire League of Investigators, 10 retired police officers and detectives, and the Molly Bish Foundation started working on the case in 2006. Tom Shamshak, a former police chief and a member of the Licensed Private Detectives Association of Massachusetts, said, "It appears that this is something beyond a mere missing persons case. Something ominous could have happened here. The Arkansas group Let's Bring Them Home offered a $75,000 reward in 2007 for information that could solve her disappearance. In October 2006, volunteers led a two-day search within a few miles of where Marie's car was found. In the closet of an A-frame house approximately 1 mile from the crash site, cadaver dogs allegedly went bonkers, possibly identifying the presence of human remains. The house had formerly been the residence of the man implicated by his brother, who had given Fred the rusty knife in 2004. A sample of carpet from the home was sent to the New Hampshire State Police, but the results were not released to the public. In July 2008, volunteers led another two-day search through wooded areas in Haverhill. The group consisted of dog teams and licensed private investigators. Marie's case was one of many cited by proponents of a statewide cold case unit for New Hampshire in 2009. Her case was subsequently added to the newly established cold case unit later that year. In 2010, Fred publicly criticized the police investigation for treating the disappearance as a missing persons case and not a criminal matter, and called on the FBI to join the investigation. Jeffrey Strelzin said in February 2009 that the investigation was still active. "We don't know if Maura is a victim, but the state is treating it as a potential unaliving. It may be a missing persons case, but it's being handled as a criminal investigation." In 2014, on the 10th anniversary of Marie's disappearance, Strelzin stated that we haven't had any credible sightings of Maura since the night she disappeared. In an article published in the New York Daily News on the 10th anniversary of his daughter's disappearance, it was reported that Fred Marie believed she was dead and had been abducted the night of her disappearance. On February 9, 2017, the 13th anniversary of Marie's disappearance, Strelzin wrote in an email to the Boston Globe, "It's still an open case with periods of activity and at times it goes dormant. There are no new updates to share at this time." In February 2019, the 15th anniversary of Marie's disappearance, Fred reiterated his belief that his daughter was dead, as well as his suspicions about the nearby house that cadaver dogs responded to, stating, "That's my daughter, I do believe." In early April, excavation was done within the basement of the house. Fred had previously wanted to search the property, but the owners did not cooperate. Following its sale, the new owners allowed several searches of the property. However, the excavation conducted in early April found absolutely nothing, other than what appears to be a piece of pottery or old piping. In early 2021, the tree at the site where Marie was last seen, which had been marked with a blue ribbon as a memorial, was cut down by the property owner. Shortly thereafter, a request from Marie's family to have a New Hampshire historical marker placed at the site, which had been submitted in late 2020, was turned down by the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources. On September 14, 2021, the New Hampshire State Police announced that bone fragments had been found on Loon Mountain in Lincoln, New Hampshire, APP or OXIMATELY 25 miles east of the site of Marie's crash. Marie had been to the mountain before and had knowledge of the area. According to her sister, the bone fragments were described as pretty small, and it was expected to take at least 2 months to determine if they were the remains of Marie or not. In November, it was announced that the remains were not of Marie. In January 2022, FBI issued a national alert in Marie's case and created a violent criminal apprehension profile, allowing multiple law enforcement agencies to share information regarding her case. In July 2022, law enforcement in New Hampshire initiated a search in the towns of Llandaff and Easton. In February 2024, on the 20th anniversary of her disappearance, New Hampshire officials released an age progression photo of Marie. She is still missing at this time. Thank you for watching. For more true crime stories, follow my co-host Child Case Podcast with Sylvia Pradia, where she covers child abuse cases.